Hello pianists! Today you will learn the incredibly helpful skill of transposing music from one key to another. I will begin with Mozart's Sonata in C major, Sonata facile, meaning Sonata easy, although it's not easy, K545. I will play just the opening theme, 4 measures in C major as it appears in the exposition. Then it brings it back to F major in the recapitulation. I want you to listen as I play. Do you hear any differences of the chords, of the melody, or maybe even the emotion and the mood that Mozart's composing within from these 2 keys? Enjoy. Now measure 42, F major. Okay, as you saw in the analysis, the harmonies, meaning the Roman numerals, did not change. The lead sheets, of course, changed based on the key, but the Roman numerals, the harmonies were the same. The melody, the intervals were exactly the same. But did you notice a difference maybe of the affection or the mood? If you don't, that's on one camp. Another camp says that there's different moods attached to keys. Scholars have said that perhaps C major feels more pure and innocent, and F major maybe is more joyful and a little bit brighter, especially as Mozart puts it higher. So you can decide on that one. But even beyond the change of feeling or emotions, there's really applications in real life where we have to transpose music. For example, you're accompanying a singer and the piece that you've prepared isn't quite the right range that they need to sing in. Maybe they have a cold that day, or you're singing along. You can't quite sing that high. On the spot, you might need to be able to transpose down a step or a skip or even further. So after today's video, you will have the skills to be able to transpose music up or down as you need to on the spot. Let's say you're accompanying a transposing instrument. We have instruments keyed in B flat or E flat, and let's say they need you to transpose up to the key that they're sounding in. Another way would be chord charts. If you have a favorite pop piece, it has lead sheet symbols. You can also reduce those down to Roman numerals or maybe the more common Nashville numbering system. Once you have the numbers, you can transpose it to any key, and then it feels different as well. Also, just recognizing these patterns of transposition in Mozart's pieces, other sonatas and sonatinas will just make you a better sight reader. So you're just transposing, oh, I've already played this. Now I'm going to play it just in a different key where it feels mostly the same. Okay, so let's jump in. Your demonstration piece is much easier than Mozart's. We're going to be playing Louis Kohler's Melody Opus 218, number 20. I like Kohler. He was a fellow pianist, he was a composer, also a pedagogue, meaning he was writing pieces for students to learn from. So they were very popular during the Romantic era, along with Carl Czerny's, and we still use them today as excellent teaching pieces. So as I play, watch the score. You start to analyze it. What key does it look like it's in? What kind of repetitions does it use? What kind of patterns? What kind of accompaniment patterns? What kind of intervals is the melody moving through? So you make those decisions first, and then I'll help you walk through our transposition steps. First step is to identify the key. If we look at our key signature, it looks like C major. But if I start to look at some other musical cues, the first left-hand chord, the right-hand hand position, the way it starts and it ends, it's actually in G major. So these beginning pieces, they don't always include the key signature because key signatures are maybe a little more advanced concept. So you can't always go off of the key. You also have to look at the musical cues of what kind of chords I use, what kind of hand positions. So this is definitely in G major. To get you thinking in the key, use your other patterns of scales. You can just do 5-finger scales. You can do full octave scales. To get your brain thinking, those groups of notes will be the notes I'll use. Also warm up on your primary chord progression I taught in a previous video. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 5, 1. That way you incorporate previous patterns to help you sight read this and eventually transpose it. Next step is look through for repetitions. That way it cuts down on how much of the music you actually have to be reading through. As I played it through, you might have noticed measures 1 through 4 has a repetition again at measures 9 through 12. Put those green brackets to show that this is the same music just transposed. Kind of just cuts down your work from 16 measures down to 12. So everything is the same in terms of the melody and harmony within those green brackets. Next, look at the accompaniment. In this piece, it happens to be in my left hand. Hopefully you recognize that now as an arpeggiated chord. I taught that in a previous lesson with our chord progressions. reduce it down to one chord. I'm going to play all three notes as a harmony. Now we're going to start to become functional. We're going to label what these chords are with numbers. You can use Nashville numbering with normal English numbers or Roman numerals. So I look through measures 1 through 4 are all GBD, which is my Roman numeral 1. Measure 5, top two notes go up. There's that 4, 6, 4 we've practiced before. Twice, measure 7 back to the 1. Remember, this is a repetition, so it'll be exactly the same. 4 measures of the 1. I'm going to skip ahead. Measure 13, I have A, C, and D. This is probably the most complicated chord of the whole piece. So I have a second. This is not root position. So to find root position, I'm going to have to put that D down below. I'm still missing a chord tone, which we kind of infer. It could be an F sharp, especially since we're in the key of G. It would have that F sharp in it. So sometimes those composers will have some missing chord tones, but that would be the 5-7. Here's the first inversion of a 5-7, a 5-6-5. This is actually in the second inversion, which is a 5-4-3. Remember, those numbers come from intervals, fourth and third. So I've labeled that as a 5-4-3. Repeats, second to last measure. My right hand gives me the G, so this is actually a G harmony. First inversion, 1-6, back home to the 1. You can grab out your pencil, and I would also analyze those whole and half step movements between some of those challenging chords like measure 12 to 13. So I'm moving from my G chord to our 5-4-3. Notice the bottom finger goes up a whole step, middle one up a half step, top one stays put. Just practice that move. 1 to 5-4-3, and then up another whole step, back down to time. So become comfortable on that progression in your key before you try to transpose it. Okay. Next step, so we need to look at the melody. We've talked about the harmonies of our left hand with Roman numerals or numbers, so we can transpose it to a new key in just a moment. We'll look at the melody. I'm going to talk you through 3 ways that you can think through this. Perhaps the first way as a beginner is thinking just the interval movements between my scale degrees. I'm starting on a B below landmark treble C. We're going to play through this, and I'm going to name how far the intervals move each time. Here it is, 1, 2, 3. Same, down a third, up a third, up a third. 2, 3, third, up a second, same notes, thirds, down a step, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to get brave. I'm going to add my left hand as a blocked chord. You can condense these skills. It'll make the process faster. Here's measure 9, left hand blocked, right hand intervals. Same, third, down a third, back up that third, second, third up a fourth, second, third down a second. Might need to circle that fourth between that A and the D. Okay. After that, we're going to do some numbering system. The melody can be reduced down to scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back home to 1. So that's what you'll see above. Those are scale degrees and not finger numbers. Here it is. 1, ready, go. 3, 3, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, scale degree 4. 4, 6, 4, 3. Repeats back to the third scale degree. 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 4, 2, 5, 4, 2, 1. I think that can be a little confusing because there's so many numbers already in music. We have finger numbers that I'm switching, and I'm also saying a different number. This is why classical musicians prefer to use solfege. I learned movable do, where the first scale degree is do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. For the major scale, there's another set that modifies for the minor. So the third scale degree is mi. So I'm going to show that on the screen and sing or say that solfege. Feel free to do it along with me. 1, ready, go on. Mi, 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 do, mi, so, mi, up to fa, 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 la, fa, mi. Repeats on mi, 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 do, mi, so, mi, sol, fa, re, do. That's movable do, so that way you can transpose it to other starting keys. So that's the process of understanding the piece in your original key. As you become more advanced, those skills become much faster. You might not even have to play through all of it. You'll just be able to see it on the page, the score. Next step, let's transpose this. Let's say you have a singer that comes in and that is just a little too high. we're going to move it down a step to F major. Warm up in your key, 5-finger scale, full octave scale. Use your chord progression, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 5, 1. We'll go through those steps again. We're going to transpose the left hand first. Use your number system to move this down to F. So the 1 chord starts on F, A, C. I'm going to block through the left hand. Remember the same chords, 4 measures. Measure 5, 4, 6, 4, up a half in the middle, up a whole on the top. Measure 7, back home to 1. Repetition stays there in 1. Look ahead during easy spots. Measure 13, remember that bottom finger 1, up a whole step, middle one up a half. 1, 6, up a whole step. You might need to isolate measures 12 to the end, the 1, 5, 4, 3, 1, 6, back home to the 1. Practice that left hand, make it go faster so it becomes automatic. Almost done. Let's address the melody. I'm going to use the solfege system. So mi, the 3rd scale degree, would be A in the key of F. Remember that B flat, that'll be fa coming up. I'm going to block the left hand really softly underneath while I transpose this melody into the key of F. 1, ready, play, we're in mi, 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 do, mi, sol, mi. Up to fa's B flats. Fa, fa, la, fa, mi. Change your finger back to the 3rd. Mi, 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 do, mi, sol, mi. Sol, fa, re, sol, fa, re. I felt that changed a little bit. It was just a little bit darker and warmer compared to G major. Actually felt a little bit brighter. So those keys have different affections as well. So you can try out these steps, change it up to A flat, go down to E, go to E flat. Pick a favorite key and use these steps to transpose it. The last step would be then to finally arpeggiate the melody, so it's not just blocked. Add in some voicing of the right hand, add in some expression. Have fun transposing your own music.